T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. This is Sports and Other Stuff. Recorded before a live, somewhat dead, maybe, who knows, half alive studio audience. Hey, we've got NFL Week 7 in the books. We'll talk a little bit about Daniel Jones' miraculous run. And a little team from Indiana shocks the world. But first, we're rounding the corner. It's almost halfway time through the NFL season. Lots to chat about. Take it away, men.
Well, for me, like the highlight of the weekend was DK Metcalf running down Buddha. I mean, was that amazing? It didn't change the outcome of the game, but it changed the complexion and it let people know, man, that guy can run you down. And he's a huge guy. So
just on that play alone, one, my favorite thing about it is that is the one play that from here out until the end of his career, people like DK, like he loves the game. Because like all the old veterans will always talk about like that's the type of play where you can tell a guy's got heart. Like that's the type of play. But I mean, look, he's already kind of exploded this year. He was great last year, but he looks like he's maybe like a top 5 wide receiver. It was a great play.
good game. I mean, right down to the wire.
Well, like they always talk about with the Seahawks in Sunday night game, Michaels and Collinsworth. It's always appointment viewing when it comes to the NFL.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
Russell Wilson, and it'd be credit to Arizona. Russell Wilson, he played great for Portland, but he had big mistakes, and I give a lot of credit to Arizona for that. Particularly Simmons, the linebacker from Clemson, coming up with a huge interception in overtime to allow Gonzalez to redeem himself for the miss in overtime. So,
hey, Kyler Murray, baby, he's the man. I'm telling you, that kid kept him in everything.
Well, to be fair, give them this. They're 5-2. 2 of those 5 wins are over 49ers week 1 when they were fully healthy, or relatively fully healthy. They weren't healthy at wide receiver. And, Seahawks who are just undefeated at that point. So, yeah, no, it's a huge win. Obviously, it does kind of show the ascension of Kyler Murray. So,
and the low light for me was Daniel Jones. Can the man not run 100 yards? I mean, what's the deal? Come on.
Amen to that.
Chug a whoop.
Got those some number 12 feet didn't cooperate, did they?
I know.
It's one of those things
Weird.
though, like you still can't. It's not as bad as the butt fumble because still it's physically impressive. Like it shows you how athletic. It shows you how athletic he is to get that far ahead. Now, obviously,
Is or isn't? What do you mean?
he is. He is athletic. I mean, but the turf monster happens to a lot of people. I mean, I don't think he's uncoordinated. I just think he got turf monster.
Well, he said he saw on the big screen behind him people were coming up, so he tried to kick it into another gear. He didn't have another gear. It was like he spun out,
His top gear is good enough. He should have just believed that was his top gear and stayed in it. But
right, just keep on trucking.
Yeah,
So.
And it's not as embarrassing. Again, this guy has obviously redeemed himself after this. It's not as bad as Brady's thinking there's still another down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Four.
Yeah.
Am I holding up
Yeah.
4 fingers or 5?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. What was that?
So,
Right.
like, at least he's got that going for him.
True.
Hey, speaking of Brady, another fine weekend for the Bucks, man.
Yeah. Instead of holding up 4 fingers, you showed up 5 through 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
A good team. I mean,
And
the Raiders
did he run one in?
he ran one in. Yeah.
Yeah.
With wooden legs, but that's different.
I'm going to say, he's on those prosthetics and they're working pretty well. So now there were some real good games during the weekend. And
the 2 early games, Saints versus Panthers and Titans versus Steelers, 2 undefeated teams. Both those games were exceptional.
Did you see Teddy Bridgewater get run out of bounds and go sit on the bench next to Tyson, next to Hill, and next to Drew Brees?
Yeah. Well, he was coming
He's
home.
laughing it off. It was very, very funny, actually.
Yeah.
Teddy looks like he's having a good time. He's finally making money, and he's making games.
Yeah, they didn't win, but they and unfortunately he did make a costly mistake at the end because you saw the kick by Joey Sly.
Yeah,
that thing was just barely. It was a 6-7 yarder. It was just barely. If he didn't take that sack, that was going in. That would have gone to overtime. But regardless, for the most part, Bridgewater played well. I mean, that one deep shot touchdown to DJ Moore. To all the people that hate on him saying he doesn't throw deep, he's just checked down. I just think that's the Saints' offense.
He's having a blast. I think he's having a good time. He was John with Sean Payton at one point too, and they're both laughing, and he's just whatever.
If he had some talent around him, I mean,
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Who, Teddy?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys aren't real talent. Who's he got? Tell me who he's got.
What are you talking about? They have they possibly have like a top 5 wide receiver core.
Really?
They're gifted.
Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. DJ Moore was a 1,100-yard receiver last year. Robbie Anderson always had the talent. It's Adam Gase doing Gase things to hold people down, and Robbie Anderson. And he also had injury problems. I'm not going to give. And Curtis Samuel also has injury problems, but Curtis Samuel's talented. No, I'm not going to. Look, I love Teddy Bridgewater, but I'm not going to say he's completely just elevating these guys around him. No, he's surrounded by talent, but he's maximizing for the most part, I think, a lot of their talent. So I'll give him credit there. No, and Joe Brady, he was the offensive coordinator for LSU last year. I think Teddy Bridgewater, one, I'm happy he got paid. He's surrounded by a decent amount of talent. I think he's in a good offense that obviously Joe Brady came from New Orleans, so it's a system he kind of knows.
And he might have a real head coach.
Oh, Matt Rule is for real.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we're all in agreement 2 years down the line, this team, like, I think Matt Rule, when he shook Sean Payton's head, should be like, enjoy it. That's what he should have said. Because this is mine in 2 years. I'm going to run this show for the NFC South.
Hey, speaking of running the show, the Steelers, they're running the show, baby.
How can they be the only undefeated team?
That was a good game, too,
Wow.
the Titans and the Steelers.
Yep.
And Steelers and Ravens are coming up. That will be interesting.
Yeah.
So
it felt like a tale of two halves, where Steelers defense played very well in the first half, and like Roethlisberger was just locked in. I mean, that one touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson, that was like through a keyhole, and it was a great catch by Deontay Johnson. Then in the second half, I mean, that third interception where if they kick a field goal, they go up by 6. I mean, what's he doing? He threw into triple coverage.
Oh, I know. That's that's when you're just relying a little too much on your arm. You think more of your arm than the other team does.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just obvious. But, I mean, 3 against 1, you're never going to win that battle, you know.
And speaking of like DK Metcalf's second-year wide receiver, how about A.J. Brown?
Yep.
Yeah.
153 yards receiving, touchdown. Just a man among boys. And actually, funny enough, bring it up, they were teammates in college. So what's that say about their quarterback?
Yeah, he's young too.
So how about the hats off to Matthew Stafford with no time on the clock? Now, admittedly, he beat the Falcons, which appear to be the doormat. But Arthur Blank was ready to charge the field, man, and then Stafford gunslung one there into the end zone and in the end zone and go. That was pretty cool. Good to see it. They're 3-3. Who thought?
Yep.
Lions. They're in the hunt, kind of.
Yeah. Well, you had some major quarterback, moments like also Herbert for San Diego. I mean, he had himself a real fine game. So
I don't think he's had a even average game. I think all his games he's been spectacular, which I'll admit I did not think he was going to be this. So I'll eat crow on this one.
He's much bigger than I thought. I mean, he's a physical specimen. He reminds me of Roethlisberger a bit. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not a meathead like Roethlisberger.
No, you probably heard during the game. He had a 4.0 in college, in biology at Oregon.
So were you just sitting funny facing your TV when you watched him before? Now all of a sudden he's bigger, Lugs, or what happened there, man? What happened? You get a bad angle on that?
I guess I never saw him on the field. The first time I saw him on the field, I never saw any of his college games that I recall. I may have seen a highlight, but the first time was when Tyrod Taylor, they intentionally deflated one of his lungs so they could get him in. That's my theory, conspiracy theory right there.
You've seen a lot of those hospital dramas. Anybody got a ballpoint pen, and they jam the pen in the guy's ribs. Is that what they did to Taylor, and then took air out?
Yeah, sure, it could have been.
Took air out of his lung.
So
the collapse.
But I guess anyway, it was fun to watch that guy. I mean, you've got some young
fun
quarterback talent. I did not see Tua play. I don't know.
Well, he was there on bye this week, and he only.
It might be why you didn't see him play. I don't know. Just
but
guessing.
Speaking of guys in the same class, though, Burrow. He ran for a touchdown, and I think threw for, 3 off the top of my head? I'm just going off the top of my head. And I know he threw for 400 yards. So
Joe Burrow fan club now in session.
Yes. And, this is with, them losing Jonah Williams, their first-round pick from 2 years ago, and just having they're getting guys off the street right now to play on the offensive line, which is never good, considering what we're paying and the draft capital you invested into Joe Burrow. And as much as I criticize him, I'll give credit, even though Bengals defense is not that good right now because of injuries and whatnot. Baker Mayfield having a big day himself.
Yeah, how about it? The bake.
He finally kicked in. See, I think it's better. He's better when Odell Beckham's off the field, and he's going to be off the field for the rest of the season. So
I was going to say he's going to be phenomenal. Then
he's going to have he's taking care of that stadium and those commercials, and that's paying off apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else? Anything else from the big week? We're about halfway through the season. Can you believe it?
It's been a good year. I think obviously having to move some games around and whatnot, but it's been fun. It's always interesting to see certain teams emerge, like the Bucks, or we didn't even get into what's going on with the Patriots.
Right, 2-4. Wow,
yeah.
Got hammered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it over?
No. He just needs to get himself some more Belichick-type players. Right now, well, when you've got as many, Hightower opted out, Chung opted out. I mean, that defense has not been what it should have been. And Cam Newton is just surprisingly inconsistent.
I will, going back to J-Boy's question, I will at least agree with Lugs a little bit on this. Long term, like Lugs is saying, no, they're not out. This year, they're cooked. They're cooked. Their skill positions, besides Damian Harris at running back, I don't believe in anybody that Cam Newton's around. I'm not saying that Cam Newton's off himself, but